Good day, everyone. John Little here. Sammy's back at the controls. He tried being a director, and that just did not work out. So we're going to let Chester try that. Chester, you're directing the show tonight. All right, we're on row 3, which is B2, because we started 0. Don't get started on that again. So what we're doing is, again, we're in On1 Photo Raw is our program of choice. Very similar to Lightroom, except to me, it does a lot more. And you're not tied to Adobe. Which I don't have a problem with Adobe. A lot of people do. All right, we're going to go here to Edit. This is our first one. We look at our chart at the top here, our little graph, and it's well balanced all the way across. We got good contrast, good color. Let's export this one out. It takes approximately 20 minutes to export these out, get them ready for the shoe. And everything's good there. Export. All right. Now. All right, there we go. I put all the 2s into the 2 folder. These are the 3s that we'll slowly get. All right, here we go. Next one. Oh, that looks like you guys are really doing a bang-up job on this row. That could be a straight export. Next one, I'm just using the arrow key to get to the previous and the past and etc. We're still in good range on that. The blacks look black. I don't think you have a true white in this particular one, so I'm not going to worry about that. I think we're good. Because you still have good detail in there. You don't want to burn them up. And burning up a highlight is when you lose the detail that is in the highlight. We'll find a photo that we can do that too. We had one on row 2. Okay, right here. Over here, let's take a look at this section right here. See this big red? That means it's burned up right there. Now we're going to try to take this highlight right here and just bring it all the way down. See all the detail that there was in there? Look at all that. This is what the camera saw. But with a program like this, you can pull back some of the detail. And I think we're looking good there. Black-wise look good. I'm going to drop it down just a couple of points just to get a little bit richer black. There we go. I'm going to go with that. So that's one of the photo things you got to be aware of when you're photographing things. I remember the old days, I used the zone system. That was done by Ansel Adams. Very similar to the grayscale. Each value of the grayscale has a value. I think we did 0 through 7. Might have been 10. I think it's been a long time since I had to do that. I'd like to see that black. I think this is reflection. So let's do our polarizing filter first before we do anything else. Grab our polarizer. Change our filter to the polarizer. And just get the 100% polarizer. Oh yeah, look what that did. Dunk, dunk. That's all I needed. Highlights are burned up a little bit, but I got a feeling they're gonna be. I don't think there's gonna be any detail in there. Let's go back to our highlights and just bring it all the way down. Still has it burnt. We'll bring it down a little bit. Let's bring this image back down size-wise. We'll recover some of those. Shadows. Oh, that black is black. I don't know if there's anything in there. Let's just bring them up and see if there's anything in there. There really isn't. You can see a little bit of texture in this area, but that's not going to improve the photo. Let's go ahead and bring it down a little, see what we got. Because you don't want to lose the blacks that we had up there by sacrificing something that doesn't really have the detail in there, the darkness. Okay, good with that. So when we used to go out shooting in black and white world, we'd have to be conscious of the grayscale. Oh, the baby image. And so if we had a scene and we wanted to brighten the greens or the yellows, we could put a green filter or a yellow filter onto our camera, and that would brighten the greens. Like red, put a red filter on. All right, enough of that. What do we got? I mean, this is 100%. I think we're pretty good. I'm not crazy about the size of it, though, but we're telling it to enlarge it to 3 inches. I believe we are telling it to do that. It must be because it's outputting the right size. So we'll do export. And the problem with teaching you guys how to shoot them is everybody's got something different, and I don't know how everybody's doing things. It makes it very challenging to figure out how to teach you guys. So if you have any suggestions, all right, what do we got? Just lacking in contrast a little bit, aren't we? You think a polarizer might help? I don't know if it's got a glare on it or not. Let's give that a shot first. That's the least destructive thing we can do. Well, that definitely helped it. It did have some glare on it. Let's take it about like, as my father would say, about like EA. Engineer, my father was. Aeronautical engineer, designed airplane engines. Used to work at home all the time. I guess that's where I got my work ethics from. He'd bring home work from the office and continue working all night. We got detail in there already. We haven't burned them up. We got the black. I'm going to go with it. And he would use a slide ruler. And that's what you did in those days. He didn't have calculators back then, in the early days. So I'd walk up to him and say, Dad, what you doing? He goes, well, I got to figure out this angle of something, or who knows what it was. I have no idea any of that stuff anymore. But he had a slide ruler out. And I go, what's that? He goes, it's a calculator. What do you mean? He goes, well, I slide it this way, slide it that way, move the thing this way, and I look at a number and it gives me a number. When I looked at that, and he taught me to use a slide rule. I could use a slide rule. But the interesting thing is, you're still guessing at the number because it's a line between two spaces. I mean, it would drive me nuts, but I guess, there's a certain tolerance I guess you could go with. What do you think, guys? We seem flat. I'm voting polarizer. Do I have a second? I think I do. I think Chester, the director, said, do a polarizer. Oh, good choice, Chester. We didn't have to kick it up any. That did it, 50%, bada bing. A brilliant dog, that boy. I asked my dad, Dad, do you want me to do what you do? He goes, no, absolutely not. You do what you want to do in life. Be happy in life. Best advice my father ever gave me. When I was in school, I wanted to be, youngster, I wanted to be a race car driver. Who didn't? Come on. Polarizer again? And then I went to school, and I started off with general studies, graphic artist. And that's when I started doing watercolor. I kind of like that. See if we can do these highlights down here. And I was in love with watercolor. Can't get any bigger. Here we go. And because I could do blending. I mean, it would be graduated, which you've seen some of my backgrounds. I can get them so smooth. And that just blew the teacher away. I mean, they were amazed that I could do that. I go, not a big deal. I don't know why I could just do that. It's not bad. And Then a friend of mine, my roommate, one of my roommates, we were in a suite in the dorm rooms, as it were. Suite mate let me borrow his camera. Needless to say, that's the direction this kid went. I had like a quarter to go to get a graphic arts degree. I knew everything. I was, 20, 18, 19, 20. I knew it all. I don't need I can do anything I want. Didn't get my degree. Got my AA. I think Karen was a little upset with me. She didn't get her AA. Karen's my first wife. First wife of 40 years. Those good years. We had good times. But she didn't get her degree. Didn't get any of them. She was a party girl. Because nobody said our marriage would never last. How could you go out with him? He doesn't party, doesn't do anything. Oh, not saturation, wrong one. He's not a party boy or anything. Little do they know. I think all the couples, we were the longest married with no problems. What do you think? That looks pretty good. Turn it off. Am I seeing anything? I don't think I'm seeing enough. Am I getting anything? What's that graph up there? Got some detail there. Can we pull back this? Oh, we got a little more. We'll go with that. So, that was some good times. But photography caught my heart. So I quit school, started working in a camera store. And then I started doing darkroom work. Very similar to this, except in the dark. This is a glare up here, so we know definitely it's going to need a polarizer. And it looks also to be a little warm. So let's take the warmness out first, right here in the temperature. Let's see, just cool it off just a touch. About like, yay. I'll put the polarizer on it. But I would spend literally hours in the darkroom for one image. You know, when Ginger whips out a painting, what I do, a painting in a couple hours. I mean, we've done some 9-hour ones. Oh, I can't get rid of that all the way up there at the top. Ooh, this is going to be a tough one. Oh, we got the wrong one here. Get the right one would be better. Still can't get it all. Definitely helps it though. I mean, literally hours for one image. That might be oversaturated. We'll have to see what the neighbors look like. Any expensive photography? That wasn't a cheap hobby to be into. I did black and white and did color. I was one of the only people that could pull out information from a very thin negative. I did legal work for a fire department. They would do arson investigation, and they would bring me negatives. If you ever held up a negative, that you couldn't see anything in it. I mean, literally, it was as flat, like the couple of that we've seen here on row 2. And he goes, "You got to get me something." And I could pull him something out of there. This is one I thought might be upside down. We'll have to see, but this is cool looking. It's a soft image though. As we can see, it wasn't sharp when it was shot. But I'm not going to worry about those because I think we're going to be okay in the overall scheme of things. So we did that. I did that for a while. And then Karen got pregnant with the first child. And I said, well, I have to find a more stable job, something that would pay. So that's when I got into computers. The second love of careers. Now, what I like about any job is you can learn something new all the time. This looks pretty good. You can always learn something new. Photography, I'd pretty well mastered it as far as being able to manipulate and do all kinds of things with it. But computers, they're always coming up with new ones. Somebody new is inventing something. You have to program something differently. You have to do something different. So I got into the computer world. A little bit of highlights here. Look at this. See, this probably has detail in it. Let's just take a quick shot at that and see what's in there. No, not really. What you're picking up is a lot of the sensor noise, and the highlights are really burned up. So we can't really get anything there. We'll bring back a little bit, bring it back down in size. Black is black. It's not pegged. I mean, it's darn close to it, but I think we're going to go with that. So that's a little tidbit of my history. And that was number, wait a minute. Well, we've already done, wait a minute. We've already done 11. We're on the second row. What time is it? I've been blabbing away. We're starting on the third row. Was the fourth row. 15 minutes. Oh, I'm doing good. Let's just keep going then. You don't mind. And Ginger and I got together through a mutual friend. I was working for Mark Kistler, the PBS Draw 3D dude. I was doing his websites and doing basically what I'm doing with Ginger now. We used to do a live show, not on YouTube. He did it through a program called Jigsaw, which was a private setup. Let's try to get a little contrast in here with a polarizer. And he introduced us. He said, Ginger, you ought to do this. You're a great teacher. You ought to teach, do what I'm doing. And Ginger said, I don't have a clue how to do anything like that. He goes, well, I got a perfect guy that'll help you do it. So I called Ginger. We got together. I was in Michigan. She's in Texas. Check the filter here. Oh yeah, that's what it needed. Look at that. I knew it had a little bit of glare on it. And first thing I said to her, Ginger, we can do anything. And I just gave her the vote of confidence to say, okay, let's do it. So she and I formed a relationship, a business relationship, and Karen, my first wife, was going to write the book because Ginger, still have a book we want to write, got a couple we want to write. And so we were all happily tooling along, as it were. And then unexpectedly, Karen was taken away. So we only had one son. Our first child died at birth. That's very contrasty. I think I'm losing too much there. Bring it down a little bit. And then we were told we'd never have children. It's impossible for you to have children. It'll never happen. So we had saved money to have it tried, couldn't do it. And the thing was that Karen had built-in birth control, basically. When my little swimmers would go inside, and her little guys would say, no, and just kill my little swimmers. So we said, okay, we'll go on with life. What are we going to do? We got into ceramics. She wanted to do ceramics. She was top rated in that field. I mean, she was one of those people too that whatever she could do, she did well. This is beautiful here. Who did this one? This ought to be a painting. And so we got in ceramics. Then we went to Disney. On our way down to Disney, we happened to have a child be created. I remind my boy of that all the time. Father, Charlie, you all know Charlie now. He's working for me now. Brilliant kid. Just got to get him focused. I'm thinking, Mr. Lincoln, we can get a little bit more. Ooh, we can. You got a little more detail there. Bring it back down. I bet if we throw the old polarizer on there just for a little contrast, just a touch. Won't need much. You want to get rid of that fog. There we go. So there's a little history of me. What are we up to? Did I export that? Yeah, there it is. That was number 6, which is really number 7. Oh, this is a white one. This is where the waterfall's coming down. I know where I am now in the picture. Were you guys surprised that it ended up being a ginger painting? Some of you knew, because you could tell by the brush strokes. I mean, she has a very unique style. Let's see if we can get anything in the details here. A little bit, we're getting a little flat though. We'll take a few. Got a little bit of glare. I'm thinking, is that? That may not be glare. Let's just see what a polarizer does for us. I mean, this is a very, you can see the color. I mean, if you guys have never seen an original ginger cook, you're really missing something. I see them all the time. Oh, that kind of looks good like that. I didn't think it'd take that much. And that didn't hurt it at all. I'll take it. Because the colors that are in there are just phenomenal. Ooh, that's a pretty one too. That might be just a little, I think that just needs a little bit more exposure. It's exposure right here. Yeah, see, it's a little, I don't think it's a white thing. I think I want to get the exposure up a touch. Not quite that much. That looks good. Yep. But her brush strokes. So I belong to the Digital Art Academy. They have lessons. Great guys. They use Corel Painter, which I'm trying to learn. And I took a picture of one of Ginger's pictures, and I sent it to him. I said, can this be done digitally? And several people looked at it. And they came back with, yes, but it'll take a lot of work because of all the color that's in each brush stroke. Digitally, we can do two colors at a time right now. I haven't, and with Corel Draw, you can create your own brushes. I haven't gotten that far. I mean, you guys are keeping me so busy, I don't get to do anything in my other world. Got anything down here? I think it's just going to be, I mean, here, let me show you what's down here. This is a shadow area, right? Noise. We can get, it's not worth it. You know, get 6 points on that. I think the highlights up here, though, is what we need to get. And so they go, yeah, you can do it. It's just going to take a lot of work, a lot of practice, and you probably have to make some custom brushes to figure out how to do it. Because I told her what she does. I go, she uses a dirty brush. She will keep that brush going until she has to go to the complementary color. Could be oversaturated now. Look how orange that's getting down here. Let's go with it. We'll have to come back to this guy, though, I bet. It just seems a little orange. We'll have to see who his neighbor is, because that's number 9, so it's going to be a number 10 right next to him. We'll keep that one in mind. Well, that's interesting there. Huh. Go back for a second. Okay, that might work. Okay. We'll see. It looks like we have a little glare down there. Other than that, we look good. Highlight a little low, but not so bad. Not a warm polarizer. Did I do a warm polarizer on that last one? I think I did. I didn't know I could do a warm polarizer. Let's go back. Maybe I want to redo that one. Let's go back one and see what polarizer I used. Just says polarizer. Oh, let's just do another filter and see if a warm polarizer says warm polarizer. I didn't even see a warm polarizer before. It just says polarizer. Well, boo hiss. Let's just put a new one in. Good thing Chester caught that. That director is on the ball. A lot better than Sammy was doing. There we go. Now it doesn't look so orange. But I did really warm it up. Okay, so now we have to export this and we want to overwrite it. Or, what number is this? I'm just going to go ahead and throw this one out instead. I'll just delete it. And we'll just resave it. I have the same, because I'm on my laptop. So I have the same folder open down here as well as up there. Ooh, one more. I'm like, oh, 26 minutes. I took too long. Drat. All right, then the next film, I'm going to stop this one after this one. Not that one. This one. And I want to give it a touch. Like give me a 0.2. I'm thinking. Yeah, see, we don't have enough over there. Let's see what the highlights can do. No. All right, we have to bring out the old curve, the curve ball, as it were. Let's bring out the curves. See if we can pull something up from down there. There we go. A little better. I'll take that. We're good there. Let's try a polarizer, just see if it needs it. I'm not convinced it's going to need it. Turn that off for a second. And I guess it does need it a little bit. I don't need it quite that strong. I guess it does need about 50%. Didn't have a real glare on, just had a little bit. Okay, and that's the last one for this. All right, so what we've done is we did 2 rows, 27 minutes. We're going to stop this tape. And what we're going to do is we'll come back and we're going to put in 2 rows into Photoshop at the same time. Well, at the same time, one after the other. Don't be silly. All right, everybody, thank you. And we'll see you on the next one. Sammy, turn it off.